guys, welcome to the podcast. Today I have with me a guest who is currently in Arizona, but that's not her home state, and it's hot there today. She shares the temperatures with us. Bring in the heat. Wynn Charles is here with us today. Wynn has written 11 books. She has cerebral palsy, CP, and she shares her journey. And she's such a great person. And when we met the first time for our pre-interview, she was sporting a great Kermit the Frog t-shirt. So we laughed about that. And she loves the Muppets. And Kermit the Frog, if you're listening, Wynn Charles loves you so much. So to all your Muppet fans out there, Kermit the Frog fans, this is a great podcast with Wynn Charles here on Living the Next Chapter. Thanks for listening. Here we go. Okay, everybody, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I have somebody who I have recently met who, like me, has a love for a small green character, a frog, who believes it's not easy to be green. This is Wynn Charles, everyone. Wynn is an author, a podcaster, a super amazing person. And Wynn is here with us today to talk about all of her books and all of the things she's up to. She's somewhere really, really warm today, too. Wynn, welcome to the podcast. So glad to have you with us. How are you? Are you doing good?
I am perfectly fabulous. And for those of you who, well, you won't see us while we're recording, for those of you who are wondering what this strange person's doing on David's podcast, I am here today to say that I have cerebral palsy, and yes, I am a big fan of Kermit the Frog. Yes, I'm a big fan of Kermit the Frog. Yes, I would like to would like to have a better understanding, and this is my project when I do get time, is to research what Jim Henson actually did for the methods, because I grew up in the 90s. So of course I'm a big Muppets fan, and I'm also a big Sesame Street fan. But we're not here to talk about my love of the Muppets unless we get into it. We're not. We're not. We're not. Yeah, long podcast, David. But unless we truly get into it, I'm here to educate you guys about cerebral palsy, ataxia-spastic cerebral palsy, to be specific. And all you guys have to remember, you don't have to remember that mouthful of ataxia-spastic cerebral palsy. You guys have to remember CP.
Okay, I can remember that. CP. All right, I got it. Yeah.
CP. Yes, CP. And I was born in the 90s with CP, and I didn't know I had CP until 2019, which is a little bit scary. I knew what I had, but I didn't know the complexities of it until 2019, because it's a little bit scary. And my parents, believe me when I say, my parents didn't want to tell me that I had a disability. One of them finally sat me down when I was in seventh grade and said, you have CP. And then I was left on my merry way to figure out what CP was. And unfortunately, I got emotionally and physically abused by a family member, which led me more to find out what CP actually is, why I need help, why on God's grace do I need help, And so that was a shocking experience. Um, Going to physical therapy one day and asking a PT slash a PT student, is CP a bone and joint condition or is it a neurological condition? I was always told bone and joint. They go, honey, you have a neurological condition now, deal with it. We want to support you, but you have to accept it yourself. These were not mental therapists, these were physical therapists, which I'm still in therapy to this day because I got super, super angry at my stepmom who was trying to take care of me, didn't do a very good job. And so that is why I moved myself to Phoenix, Arizona. And for those of you who've been here in the summer, Phoenix, Arizona is Death Valley, basically. The other version of Death Valley. And Phoenix, Arizona, right now, as we record this on July 9th, 2022, is 102 degrees outside. Yeah. So, to give you a perspective of where I live in the winter and where I am a primary resident, it's 102. I don't I don't like 102. I like I like 86 or something, 79. And that's why I'm going back to Aspen in 2 weeks. Look, in 1 week, sorry, not 2 weeks, 1 week, lucky that's me, to because I didn't grow up in these temperatures. No, I grew up in 69, 70s. Aspen is beautiful in the summer. Yes, there's beautiful places in Phoenix, Arizona. Yes, you've heard of Sedona. Yes, you've heard of Grand Canyon. Yes, you have heard of Prescott and Flagstaff. Yes, you have heard of Grand Canyon Ranch, which is up near Sedona. But I wouldn't recommend you guys coming out in the summer. I would recommend you save that to either December or make it a New Year's trip if you want to see the beauty of Sedona. That way you don't melt coming out of the airport. David will tell you that story of him melting.
So I went to Phoenix in August
Yeah.
once, and I came out of the airport after being in an air-conditioned plane and air-conditioned airport, walked through the doors, and I melted. It was just so hot. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 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 yes, exactly,
I know, it's just so hot there. I can't believe it.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, crazy.
No, no, no. You didn't mean it that way. No, August is not the time to be here. I would recommend you people come to Phoenix in December or January. December or January, you can actually function outside. And no, I don't even recommend people close to me, and this is people want to come see me they want to come see me anytime, but I don't recommend people close to me even come in the summer. They can just leave me alone and come in the fall. I mean, it's like, no, we don't. I got, I unfortunately had to experience heat stroke. Yeah, that was a fun one. With a house guest, yeah, that was a fun one. Her watching me go through heat stroke and I never want to experience that again. Even though I like the heat, I like the humid heat. I don't like the dry heat. The dry heat is too much for me. So
Yeah, so like for here in Canada, it's like 72
Yeah,
degrees today. Not too
yeah.
bad, right? 72 compared to
I'll
where you
take it.
are. My gosh.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I'll take it. Seriously, I'll take it. I have Canadian. I have that means that I have family up in Canada, so I know my way around Toronto like this. No, no small, and I'll take it anywhere. Anywhere but here is beautiful in the summer. We don't do summer here. We do winter here. Winter is all summer where it's beautiful, where you can hang out outside on the deck. But in the summer, no. No way, no how.
So when you're an author, you've written several books, right?
11.
11 books. Yeah, so that's a lot of books. Tell me a little bit more about, I guess, more about the writing process from your point of view and writing with cerebral palsy and maybe some of the challenges and how you've overcome that. Some of the ways that you've been able to write so many books. How have you done this? And kind of bring us up to speed on some of the books that you've written. Tell us about that.
Well, I took myself back to podcasting school. I typed in at the time it was iTunes, and now it's Apple Podcasts on the Apple iPhone side. And I took myself back to podcasting school because I needed my best form of comprehension is audible, is audio. So if you mention something to me via audio, I would probably retain it in the back of my head for at least a month. And my memory is very strong. My best form of method of learning and communication is audio. And so I had to learn how to, well, I didn't have to, I wanted to learn how to write a book after my mom died. And so she died in 2010. So I thought, okay, great. How am I going to do this to share her legacy and how I grew up? And so I'm like, great. How do I do this with a woman with cerebral palsy that can barely hold a pencil and or let alone a pen and barely sign things? And so what I did is I wanted to figure out what that big purple button did on my iPhone. And so I clicked it. Me being a curious kid that I am, I clicked that big purple button and it led me down a rabbit hole, which I will not forget. I typed in self publishing, came up, stumbled upon the podcast called Creative Pen, run by Joanna Penn, who was in the banking industry in the UK, and then she got laid off. Well, her promise to herself is, I will never let anyone control my paycheck. I will let I will never let a 9 to 5 job control my paycheck. So she started self-publishing books under science fiction, and then became so popular that she had she started teaching people how to write books and how to self-publish books. And so then I thought, okay, I could do it. I just need to figure it out. So then I sat down at a computer and started typing and started speech dictation and started typing that way. Do you know it actually works? It took me a year, but it actually worked with background music, and I would type every single afternoon. And took me a year, and that's time I was lucky enough to take a leadership workshop. And it wasn't necessarily how to deal with your disability. It was how to be a better person with a disability. And at the end, they asked all of us our goals and made all of us write in front of 11 people, write down the goals, have those 11 people say we're right behind you. And I said, I want to write a book. And most of these, there were 9 other individuals in this course with me, and most of these disabled kids said, I want to travel on an airplane, I want to do all this. It was, no one was telling us what our goals should be. And when I said I want to write a book in front of 11 people, and my father looking at me straight across the table, my father just looked at me like she has lost her freaking mind because she wants to write a book, and her mother had just died. My mother died in 2010. This was also in 2010. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got myself in major trouble. So I wrote the book. I found an editor. I paid, I paid quite a bit to get this book edited. And then I designed the cover on Amazon. I learned the hard way not to design covers on Amazon because they don't look good. And so I'm considering writing another book. That will be my 12th book. And I have enlisted help because the Amazon algorithms have changed so much since I published the book that I have enlisted help. Now, granted, I am a better marketer than I was when I first published my book, I Come a Win. And yes, it's still available on Amazon. Yes, it's available in audio. Yes, you can go find it on Amazon, and I'll give Dave the Amazon links. I'll give Dave my website as well, so he can stick it in the show notes. But but ever since writing books, writing has been a little bit of a challenge, and so this is why I switched it over to podcasting because I needed to educate people about cerebral palsy, and I have a true fan base that likes to support me for some weird reason they do. And it's so funny because in these last couple of weeks, I've had to fall off the face of the planet as I dealt with something in my own life, which is, I'm happy to report, it's coming to a head in a good way. And yippee, yippee, and Wynn gets what she wants yet again. But we're working on logistics end. And so it's coming to a head in a good way. But when I posted on Facebook last night that I'm going to do a mini episode of why, with my girlfriend, about why I fell off the planet, and then I'll go into more detail after my Aspen trip, people like, do it because we want to know what happened. And so that's the problem when you have the problem in a good way, when you have a life getting in the way and you can't control it. And so having that fine balance of being a content creator and having the life get in the way, it's like, okay, life gets in the way. I have to stop what I was doing content creation wise and make it work. But at the same time, it is interesting because my fan base rolls upon me through and through. Now, some are closer to me than others, and I have my core groups that I can tell my secrets to, and God bless them because they helped me through this situation with my care. It's basically a situation with my care, which has now come to a head in a good way. We're just working out the logistics end. And the problem with cerebral palsy, my type of cerebral palsy, is I need help. I need aides to come in and help me.
So yeah, with that help and support, it makes life very difficult. Can you tell us a little bit about why community is important for you in building a community around your message and your story? Why is that so important to build that?
It's important to me because um, I am just a young woman, a 35-year-old young woman trying to educate people about cerebral palsy. The more important aspect is when people see me out in the wild or see see a person with CP, they won't let their kids stare. Literally, they won't let their kids stare at a person with a disability.
So how can we as a community be better? Are you seeing things getting better, or is it getting worse? Like, how is the community responding to people who, have this challenge or have a disability? Like, how does that work?
Kind, kind. No, I've had uh, and excuse my French, and you can make this expletive, but I've had a hell of a struggle with people coming up to me. The favorite line of mine is "God bless you for having a disability." Nope, that doesn't work with me. People will literally say "God bless you for having a disability," and people will say that to disabled people all across this universe and all across this country and worldwide. God bless you for having a disability. And yet I put my pants on like everyone else does, one leg in, the other leg in, and pulls it up. And so that line is my absolute favorite not. And so I wish the world was a little bit kinder to people with disabilities, but it's not.
So that's not great. So it's not like it's a disability has a person. It's a person who has a disability, right? It's not, you're not defined by your disability.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
you are but you are who you are.
yeah. No, I mean, not a disability as a person. I'll, I'll use that line to be credit because I'm not a disability in a person's body. I am a disability. I'm a person with a disability.
Right, exactly. So that makes more sense. And I think we can all be better people. We can all do better in life. What are you seeing from your point of view and in your daily world that where the gaps are?
Well, first of all, we're people don't know this unless they truly know me. And as I said, I have a situation going on right now about my care, and it's coming to a head in a good way. We just have to work out logistics, myself and my team. But we have a care providing charters in this country. So if you guys are the high school senior wanting to go to college, please consider becoming a CNA to help, and please consider signing up with one of these agencies all across the country. I don't care where you do it, particularly I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, but I'm noticing that people in the healthcare field don't want to work And I'm noticing it's after COVID that people in the healthcare field are just so drained and yet putting smiles on their faces every single day and then going home and bursting into tears because of um, COVID burnout and seeing what they have to do. And aides don't get paid very well. I know that. I know that from my own personal experience. And so if you guys could be considered enough to become aides, that would help all of us out. Also, if you are studying law, go into disability law because the more and more people we have going into these fields, the better. The and if you're a CPA, go into financial advising for specifically disabilities because the more and more we have people in these fields, the better off it's going to help me and the next generation.
So how do we fix this then? Like, do we need to get more people that are interested in helping and serving and being in homes and being care workers? Is that probably some way that we can kind of address the shortages? Because it's not like you can wait 2-3 weeks for somebody to show up to help you. With cerebral palsy, you need somebody on a regular basis all the time. And like the need is always there every day, all the time. It's not a convenience for you. It's a necessity that you have this kind of care.
So my recommendation would be go into that field. Go into that field. Now it's not a glamorous field and it doesn't pay high, but as long as you're in it for the passion, you can get a lot out of it. But if you're in it for the paycheck, I wouldn't recommend it. But because we're dealing with a caregiver shortage, both in the United States and in Canada, which I kind of figured, we need more. We need all hands on deck.
We need people to show up, show love, show care, show respect, and just be there on a consistent basis. And it's not like you can just treat this as an option. It has to happen. Right?
Yes, yes. Show up, give the love, give care. No, it's not just a job in my book. And now we're looking at a new situation on my end, and I believe it's going to help me out in the long run to build rapport with these individuals because right now the situation I have going on is the aides come in, they work with me for 2 hours, and then they leave, and sometimes they don't even show up at all. And then I have to get really angry at the agency to, and the agency will say to me, "We don't have people to cover you." And it's like, well, you need more people to get into this field.
So so another thing, I want to switch gears. You talk about your podcast. So you're a podcaster. That's true, right?
Oh, people can find my podcast. The Artwork of CP is on every podcast player known to man. Basically, I'm opening it up when I get back, when my life gets organized again. I'm opening it up to disability education in general. Right now, it is primarily CP focused. I do it with my girlfriend, but we've decided to open it up CP in general slash caregiving in general because I need the perspective of other caregivers who want to be on podcast. Thank you very much. And so basically, what you guys can hear is the struggles of living with CP right now, but it's going to be a disability education podcast when starting in August or starting in September. I haven't decided that. probably starting in September, if I can get my life organized quickly enough in August. But it's going to be a generally educational podcast about disabilities, because what I've found out is, and I go to one industry conference, and that is Podfest in Orlando, Florida. I trying to make it out to every single year. And I was given the opportunity to speak at Podfest this year and speak about my story and how I did podcasting. And so what I found out is the through that week of immersing myself with people and getting to know people in person and taking off the podcast mic, because people know that I have cerebral palsy. I think that's clear every single episode. And for those who don't, they must be living under a rock or Kermit the Frog's cave. I don't know, but they must be living in some cave with Muppets, or I don't know, they must be living in the swamp. I don't know. But for those who I have discovered through a week of being in Florida, a week of going to different sessions, and a week of going to different events relating to podcasts, I have discovered the riches on the niches. And so if you focus on one subject and not the average interview show, not to say that I'm not bashing the interview show, but every single Tom, Dick, and Harry has an interview show. So where does that leave me, the woman who is Cerebral Palsy, when you're competing with John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire? That leaves me in the bottom of the league.
So, but you could be on somebody's podcast, like if, say, Kermit the Frog had a podcast,
Yeah.
you could be on
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah,
You'd be a super guest for him, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
And so what I'm realizing is that I'll still keep my feed of my other one, and then I'll still have the other one, but I'm realizing that the niches are in the riches of the niches of focus on one subject really well and just do it.
That's how you build community. That's how you can find supporters and people to hear your message. Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. And for those of you that want to follow me on Facebook, please do. Please do. And follow my adventures of cerebral palsy. It's turning into wind goes adventures here, because it's turning into, when I started this podcast, I didn't realize how much people wanted to be educated about cerebral palsy. I had no clue. And I'm shocked at the download numbers, but I had absolutely no clue. I was starting this podcast to educate people about cerebral palsy, and my girlfriend wanted to do it with me. That's how I got behind the podcasting mic. And so I had no clue how people wanted to be educated about cerebral palsy. So if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, you're more than welcome to it. I'll send David I'll email David somehow, get in contact with him about all the links to the podcast. But as I said, you can find the artwork of CP anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it's even on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, but I'm not very active. YouTube isn't my thing. Podcasting is more my jam, because people can actually listen to it. They don't need to have 2 seconds to sit down and figure out with all these you and I. Don't get me wrong, I love my YouTubers, but YouTubers are home as a beast from the east in itself. But and I love my TikToks too. But short video and long video isn't my thing because people have 2 seconds of a net of attention span now, and so 9 times out of 10 they plug their phones into the Apple CarPlays or Android Auto and turn on a podcast and um, go baby go. I mean, or turn on music. These vehicles now have um, Android Auto built in and CarPlay built in, which a lot of these new vehicles are getting rid of the radio stations. They're just going aside with the times, which is Android Auto or Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, so you can get podcasts anywhere now. So, but it sounds easy, but you know what? In the words of one of our friends, when it's not easy being green. It might look easy to others, but it's not easy being green.
No, it's not easy being green. It's definitely not easy being green.
And I think if we can look past disability and look at the person.
Thank you for saying that.
I think that's really important, is that your disability doesn't define you. You are a person. And we need to treat people better overall and in general in life.
Yeah.
It just has to happen.
Well, I'll use that line. Bless those of us who have a disability, dealing with it head on. I mean, I'll use that line, and you people gotta quit saying God bless you and walking up to complete strangers. And I've been handed money. That's been a good one from complete strangers. I've been handed money. I've also heard the term "God bless you for having a disability," and I want that out of the vocab. So no new caregivers, please say to their clients, "God bless you for having a disability," because I want that out of the vocab.
Yeah, so let's treat each other better. Everybody, this is Wynn Charles, our great guest today. Wynn.
Yep.
It's so good having you on.
Yep.
You're a super great person, a great guest. I wish you well.
Let's
stay in touch. Okay?
Definitely keep in touch.
Oh, is that all right with you? All right. Okay. So let's do that. Let's keep in touch. And congrats on all the great stuff happening with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I have a safe trip and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
And we will talk again soon. Thank you for being on the podcast. Really, really, really happy to have you here. Everybody, Wynn Charles, multi-author, podcaster, super amazing person overall, and a friend of green frogs like Kermit.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Wynn. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Hey guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. Jump over to livingthenextchapter.com, our website, and you will see a spot where you can leave a voice message. We'd love to hear your feedback. We're trying to make it as easy as possible to hear from you. So if you want your voice on this podcast, yes, that's possible. Go to livingthenextchapter.com. Click the little microphone icon. Leave a voice message. We'll insert your message into the podcast. Tell us where you're listening from. Tell us your favorite guest. Maybe there's a guest we should have on the podcast. Maybe you should be our next guest. Leave us a message. livingthenextchapter.com. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please share this podcast episode with one person. That's all we're asking. Meet you over there at livingthenextchapter.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Love to hear from you. Till the next episode. It's coming up right away. Be sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you for being part of Living the Next Chapter. Thank you for supporting our guests. Have a great day.
Mindshift Power Podcast, the podcast for teenagers and those who work with them. There's a huge problem in America today. There's a very large disconnect between teenagers and the adults who work with them. I'm looking to bridge that gap with real, raw, honest conversation, not held back by the chains of political correctness. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. Want to understand teenagers today? Listen to this podcast. This podcast is for teens in the U.S. and Canada. To learn more, go to fatimabay.com/podcast or just look for Mind Shift Power Podcast on any listening platform. I look forward to you being a faithful listener.